Hello, everyone. Jags win week 6. I am reacting to it. Took a little bit. Watched the final of the Browns game. What a weird ending that was. Actually, that wasn't really weird, but seeing the Browns win a game is kind of weird at times. They're 3-2. They're actually defense. Good. But the Jags we're talking about here beat the Colts for the second time this season. Huge for standing purposes. 37-20. In a game that both felt way worse than that scoreboard-wise and closer than that. And you kind of know what I mean if you watch a game, especially late in the game. There's some things I want to say there. But this game boils down to one thing and one thing only. The Jaguars' defense, takeaway defense. Oh, man, was it the Jags up until the fourth quarter just pounded the Colts. After that first initial drive that went 65 yards and a field goal that took 8.5 minutes off the clock for the Colts, the Jags responded in kind, and the Colts just really didn't do much after that until the fourth quarter, where they end up scoring their first touchdown. Then they threw a pick in the end zone. This game could have been a lot closer in the fourth. That was a really bad fourth quarter for the Jags. We'll talk about that in a minute. I'm not going to talk about that yet. But Josh Allen has sacked, but he was in the backfield all day. Travion Walker had half sack along with Roy Roberts Harrison, and even K'Lavon Chaisson got in the act with a sack of his own. That's a couple for him this year. The Colts strangely didn't really try running the ball that much, despite Zach Moss's big game last week and having Jonathan Taylor back. Only 15 rushes between the two, and 55 pass attempts for Gardner Minshew. I think you saw today why Jags were okay with getting rid of Gardner Minshew. You saw the full experience with him today. He saw some really great plays, and you saw some really bonehead plays. He ultimately turned the ball over 4 times in this game, 3 interceptions, and a lost fumble. The lost fumble was really huge. That came after the Jags' first touchdown. The Jags immediately scored on a 22-yard rush by Travis Etienne, who has, at points, looked really good, and then... But once again, he had 18 carries for 51 yards and 3.1 yards per carry. And I'm not going to get negative yet, because there is some negative here in this game that scares me for the future, especially against the great teams. Yes, I know we beat the Bills last week, and they're a great team. I'm not discounting that. But one of the reasons why we lost to the Chiefs earlier this year, and we got some tough games ahead. Pittsburgh in a couple weeks, San Francisco after that, and after the bye week, we got some tough games that we really, really need to button down our offense here. But defensively, I thought the Jags played great up until late, and kind of started coming apart a little bit. Up some big plays that was a little disconcerting at times. Seemed like the Jags just kind of went into blah mode. I'm not overly worried about the defense's performance in the fourth quarter. Even though maybe they gave up some big stuff, they end up when it mattered with their final Colts drive, and when they needed to, they made the plays. So I'm not overly worried about that aspect of it. Offensively, Christian Kirk looked fine. Evan Ingram had 7 receptions, not a ton of yards, but he looked good. I don't have So a team scores 37 points, you would think I have a ton of good to say about them, right? I mean, that would only make sense. But realistically, I don't. I didn't think the Jags played well offensively at all. It seemed like they kind of got jet-lagged a bit after their first drive. After their first drive, they had that one-play touchdown, which is great. And then they went 5 plays, 3 plays. Then they got their second touchdown. 3 and out, 4 plays, field goal. Then they had their third touchdown. Then 3 and out, 3 and out, 4 and out, or 3 and out, 3 and out, 3 and out. Oh, the end of the game. I want to talk about the fourth quarter. I want to talk about Trevor Lawrence for a minute. I think up until this week he's played pretty good. The offensive struggles I don't think could be cast upon him in much of a way. Outside those 2 weird fumbles in the red zone last week against Buffalo, that was definitely one of them was on him, trying to do too much. I think he played well. There's been some drops. There's been some other issues, protection issues with the offensive line. Today, he didn't play well. Let's call a spade here. He did not play well. He did not have a good game. Probably his worst game of the year so far, unless maybe the Chiefs game potentially. But I didn't think he played well at all. He missed passes. He made very interesting decisions. Definitely could have thrown a pick or 2 in this game. Some bad sacks. That last field goal drive where he took the sack for 17 yards, like, what are we doing with that? You just stop, and then they potentially got injured on the play. That's something to keep in mind as we go forward, which would be the second week in a row that he suffered a little lower leg injury late in the game. But yeah, no, it's. I still think this offense looks a bit broken. I know, 37 points with a broken offense. You can't complain too much, but a lot of that was set up because of the defense's amazing performance today with the 4 turnovers. I think they said they have caused 15 on the season, which leads the league. I mean, that's incredible over 2 a game. That's you know, a bit luck based, as all turnovers kind of are, but you are doing something right if you're forcing turnovers. So. You know, a high amount of turnovers is luck, but when you're forcing turnover in general, you are doing something right, and the Jags are doing a lot right. They're getting to the quarterback. They might not be getting a lot of sacks, although they had 3 today, but they're getting. The difference between last year and this year is they might have been beating blocks, but they just weren't really getting home. This year they're getting home more with it, moving the quarterback, forcing them into bad throws. I didn't think they did that last year. This year it's been a lot better. Obviously, Josh Allen was 7 sacks this year, but 3 came in 2 separate games, or 6 came in 2 separate games of 3. So is he really playing that great in terms of getting sacks? I don't know, but 7 is still good. But I do want to talk about the offense, because the offense just died in that 4th quarter bad. I mean, if a team's ever going to come back from a big deficit on offense, the opposing team offense has just got to die. And that's what this offense did. After...
We just knew that he was going to hand the ball
in the 3rd quarter, or after halftime, the Jags offense had 1 drive, 1 over 4 plays. One. Actually, let's take that down. If you don't count the field goals, which they had 3 of in the second half, and you count them as 3 and outs, even though it counts as points, every drive but 1 was a 3 and out. Every single one of them. They did nothing in the second half. They were so bad. And that's not going to get talked about enough. How poorly the offense played, because they scored 37, huge win, divisional win, took control of the division, blah, 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 blah. No, you know, I don't want to be negative. I don't want to be a negative Nessie here. I don't want to be like a pessimist, like, oh my God, this is still not good. I don't want to be nihilistic. But man, I think it's okay to point out the offense sucked. And it kind of sucked the last time we scored 30 points against the Colts earlier this year. Weirdly, we scored 30 against the Colts, but our offense looks like shit. I don't get it either. And then we score like 20 and they look great. I don't get it either. Some more, part of the problem is some more of our old demons showed up today, only going 4 for 14 on 3rd downs. We did have a 1 for 1. The Jags only had 233 yards in this game. That's gotta be one of the highest ratios points to touchdowns or points to yards that you'll ever see. I mean, it's maybe not the greatest ever, obviously, but holy shit. But the Jags only average 3.8 yards per play, folks. Now, the Colts weren't much better with 4.7. But the defense really hung on this game. And man, we did some interesting things in that 4th quarter. That interception by Trevor is like, what are you doing? You had both guys if you want them, and you threw right in between them. That's why I said I don't think Trevor played well at all. I saw him miss some throws. I saw him take some bad sacks. That looked like 2021 Trevor Lawrence, and that I'm hoping that was a 1-game off thing. Maybe the Colts just have his number a little bit because he didn't look great the last time they played either. But the Colts still have now lost 8 in a row in Jacksonville, 9 in a row if you count London games. At the Jaguars, because they're technically a road team in a London game. The Jags won. So one of the more bizarre streaks in the NFL right now, and one of the few long winning streaks the Jags can take a contest to. Another thing the Jags have done that they haven't done in 80-some games apparently is be multiple games over 500 at any point in the season. It's an 82-game streak. That's over 5 seasons, folks. About 5 seasons, actually, with the 217 games that we played. That's outrageous. Pretty much since 2017, basically. 2018 when we started really hot and then just bottomed out badly because we thought Blake Bortles was the franchise quarterback. But nonetheless, I'm not gonna harp too much on the bad from here on out. I definitely want to say that Doug Peterson needs to get this offense figured out because we're in week 6 and I don't think this offense is good right now. They've shown good signs. They have performed at times to the level that you would expect. But it seems like we had outside runs were working, or maybe off tackle, off guards, and then we decided to run up the middle and then basically go away from them plays for no reason. Like, what are we doing? Like, Travis Etienne isn't a north-south runner. I'm sorry, folks, he's not. He does it occasionally, but do what works. And then when they start stopping that, then you go up the middle, because the middle is going to be more open up. Plus, honestly, the middle of the offensive line isn't good right now. And then Brandon Scherff went down with injury. I don't think he came back in this game. You guys can correct me if I'm wrong. Maybe he did. I can't remember seeing him back out there. I admit I wasn't paying close enough attention because they didn't have the ball long. Again, all but one of their second half drives, and there was a lot of them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and not including the last drive. 6 of their 7 drives were 3 and outs. They didn't even get first down. As a matter of fact, they only got the only time they got first down was on their 9-play touchdown drive in the middle of the game, in the middle of the third quarter. That was the only time that they got a first down in the second half, folks. The second half was not good for the Jags. It was a terrible second half. One of the worst offensive performances you'll ever see, quite frankly, at times. Okay, maybe not you'll ever see, but in terms of a team trying to put a game away, it was pretty bad. But nonetheless, let's not dwell on the negatives here. The Jags did win. They won a game. Maybe they didn't play their best. Came home from London, 2 weeks in London, no less. That's got to be something to be considered. We considered it with Buffalo last week. We considered it with Jacksonville this week, and they still won by 17. And they were nowhere near their A game offensively. I think defense was great. I think I would give defense an A. A- because of the weird things we gave up at the end in the fourth quarter. But I think defense played great. I'm not going to harp on that. Offense, I give a D+ with 37 points. Yes, folks, I give a D+. I have 3 drives. This offense did not play well. Didn't. I'm sorry. They didn't. It was massive boom or massive bust with this offense in terms of drives. They either went 3 and out, or they scored a touchdown, or they had a long drive. It was really bad. So D+ for the offense. Special team was good. I give them an A. I have no negatives, no positives on that, except Brandon McManus with some good field goals that we needed. Going forward, we have a very short week this week with New Orleans in New Orleans, a New Orleans team that seems to be rocking in not a good way. That boat's rocking. It looks like taking on some water right now. Lost today to who they lost to? Oh my God, why am I drawing a blank on this?
I mean, they set the house. They sent the garage.
I've lost my mind. I don't remember who the hell they played. Oh, Houston. Oh yeah, Houston. Yeah, they lost to Houston. That's not good. So we do travel to New Orleans. This is a very winnable game. It's a Thursday night game after a very, very tough travel. Why is my camera doing that? After a very tough 3-week travel-oriented stretch. And now you have a Thursday night right after this. It's going to be a tough game, folks. Don't take the Saints lightly. If for nothing else, you worry about fatigue right now with the Jags. They still got the Steelers after that. Before they finally get to their bye. I think we needed the bye before. I think we made a mistake by not taking the bye after the 2 games, in my opinion. Maybe you guys would disagree, but nonetheless. Thursday game, get a win there. Let's get to 5-2. Let's go beat the Saints. The Saints are there for the picking. Again, Thursday night games are always weird, so you can't take those lightly. But all right. But again, Jags beat the Colts. First place by themselves, but it isn't going to be easy, folks, this year. The Colts and Texans. And you know what? I'm not even going to discount the Titans, all right. Although right now, with Tannehill injured, their team just looks not good. But they're going to be fighting nonetheless. So don't take them lightly either. Go Jags. On to New Orleans. Until next time, everybody. Deuces.